Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, after days and days of forming a bond between our tribe and the Balance Sisters, they finally decided to show us a little bit of extra love. Not only have they very clearly blessed these two babies that were born in their image, but they even came over to the nursery in the form of Arctic ram foxes. I wasn't so sure if they would take that form, since it seems to be connected a little bit more to Anime, our goddess of war. But I suppose they didn't really want to disturb our tribe. They just wanted to sniff around and meet these new babies. So if they had shown up as bluebirds, or even as the balance bears instead, that would probably be a little bit more disruptive to the new life. As it wasn't too hard for us to take down the Arctic ram foxes, so now we have a little bit of extra food too. And we know that Willow and Solstice are some of the most important creatures in the tribe now. They have been visited by the deities themselves. So it seems pretty clear to me that all of this is going to be in Flurry's best interests. She's probably going to want to get to know these babies too. And for that matter, maybe she's realized that Hawthorne would make an excellent partner for her too. She was always the most connected to the Balance Sisters before, so I'm sure she would want to have a child connected to them too. And Hawthorne's children have already proven themselves in that regard. Most of our creatures are pretty tired out after the battle though. We just have a couple of turns that we could make with Raven, and since she's on her final day anyways, I feel like she'd probably want to settle down right next to her old friend. We'll have her scoop out some of the extra snow too, maybe melt away the lingering remnants here. Unfortunately, with these two passing, we're only going to be left with one more creature with a heat body. It would be nice if maybe we could breed that into our tribe again, but we'll have to see if there's a good opportunity for that. As it is right now, our two remaining males in the tribe are kind of specialized. We have Hawthorne with his digging, we have Sparrow with his flight, so we have to make sure that whoever they partner with will be able to accommodate for that too. And that still leaves poor Kiara feeling a little bit heartbroken. She knows that the grand Hawthorne wouldn't glance her way now, or at least that's what she thinks. We're going to leave these two sitting in the hot springs since they are a little bit more vulnerable to the colds. And Kiara is trying to mark off that route for Hawthorne anyways, still helping the tribe despite her broken heart. So let's go ahead and skip the day. We cross our fingers that the mountain will be a little bit calm today. That way we won't have to worry about anyone else getting attacked while we're trying to find a place to bury the two Balance Sisters. Oh, wait a second. Our very first walrus deer? Well, that might be even better than the roots. Oh my gosh, and here you thought you were going to bring back all of that meat from the balance bear battle? But it looks like you might have a different challenge now. Lightning is probably the first to notice. She is a little bit better at smelling after all, so we'll have her lunge ahead. Ooh, and the walrus deer is caught off guard. We could actually land our very first attack with her. While she's going to do most of the damage, Miana's poison fangs will really help us here too. So you're not going to let this get away, are you? It looks like you're not going to be able to catch up with the walrus deer though. She is a little bit slower than most. So I wonder if this would be a good opportunity for you, Sparrow, to come swooping in on your grand wings. He won't be able to attack the walrus deer here, but I guess he might be able to spook it back in their direction. And aside from that, this would also be a good opportunity for him to show off to Miana. Overshadowed once again by a creature with double wings. This is her turf though, way down here on the ground, and I think she would try to make that very clear. So perhaps a little bit recklessly, she'll bound ahead in front of her mentor. Only to watch as the walrus deer disappears? Off into the darkness, okay. It looks like he has a pretty safe escape route down to the shores too. Wait a second, have you been trampling around here? Oh, that's strange. We haven't had anybody over here since Prancer, and she passed away way over here on the cliffs? Huh, maybe he's been wandering around this place longer than we thought. We were so distracted by the balance bears and whatnot. Though the walrus deer didn't have any time taken off of his lifespan. Yeah, he must be brand new. Maybe it's just because we haven't seen the snow in such a long time. But Lightning can definitely sense that you are getting a little bit reckless, Miana. Maybe she would try to warn her about her own greed. That's something that even Mianna hasn't really realized about herself yet. All of her actions have been governed by some form of jealousy, and in this case, it's the idea that somebody is going to steal the spotlight yet again. Her own half-sister's son, even, though she doesn't know that yet, and I suppose if she had actually carried out her mission and given those bluebird feathers to her sister, then he probably would have ended up with them instead. And you know, we haven't actually changed her over to an alpha yet, and now that she's taken down the balance bear, I feel like she'd be a little bit more willing to accept that title. So perhaps as another way to show her true power, she would remind Sparrow that she is the alpha here, and he needs to listen to her if he wants to participate. We'll leave her right there with her one extra turn, just in case the walrus deer decides to turn around. Though I am a little bit worried that he's just going to rush straight off toward the shore. In fact, Kiara, you might have to keep an extra eye out. If he decides to wind his way around this way, you're gonna have to make sure that our creatures with some extra strength can help you take it down. So let's make sure that we can bring Hawthorne over to that route. Though I believe that means that Flurry is going to have to take care of the babies. I mean, granted, we don't have any bluebirds in our skies, so I suppose they could probably be left unattended. But Flurry is a stickler for tradition, so she's not going to let that rule go to waste. So let's actually set up their mutation menus too, or at the very least Flurry's. We'll make sure that she can breed with Hawthorne on this turn, just because I'm not sure if he'll be back in time. She only has a few days remaining on her lifespan as it is. So I think what I'm going to do is place at least the digging truck in her mutation menu. That would be much more helpful than the derp snout for us. Though if we could pull those Bergina genetics out, that would be pretty amazing too. I suppose we could use at least one of Hawthorne's traits. We'll put the antennas into his first slot, but we're going to leave that second slot open, just in the off chance that he finally finds the love that he's been looking for. And as for your second slot, let's try to pull the heat body out of your genetics too. She only has the big body and inactive traits, but I really don't want to see that spiky body continue in her line. It's only making it harder for her to survive out here, because if she's not grouped together with other creatures, she ends up freezing. So go ahead and breed with him for us, and then we'll have Hawthorne scoot his way around this way. The walrus deer is still around too, that's good to see. He's still within their line of sight at least. Grab the meat for us, and then we'll have you settle down right between the babies. And you, Hawthorne, you can come right down here to dig up that delicious root for us. Oh, wait a second. Oh, there's actually another one over here. I missed that because it's in that tiny little patch of snow. Well, I feel like these two roots are probably the perfect places for us to set those two to rest. They're very close to each other, so there's no better place to make their graves. I guess the only issue is he won't be able to dig them up in one turn. We can only do this one for now. And I suppose his babies are probably watching on with rapt fascination too. I wonder if they would actually try to sneak their way out of the nest. Especially right now because Flurry is a little bit too tired to move. We could have Solstice sneak her way next to her father, right in his shadow, so she can watch him paw at the ground. Or I wonder if it would be Willow who'd be more interested in the digging part of all of this. She does have the double digging paws, and she is much softer than her sister, just like how her mother couldn't land a single attack. So I guess in this case, Willow would be more like Seafoam of the Balance Sisters, and then Solstice would be a little bit more like Quicksand. She even has the Bergina claw, she has a relatively high attack, so she's going to be the one who makes sure that Willow is always safe. And she can even purr for her too. She won't be able to heal herself, but she can still keep her tribe safe and sound. Now Jolly, you can take on your third and final gem, and maybe it's time for you to finally rise from your hot springs as well. To be honest, I feel like Hawthorne would be an excellent teacher for her. She's kind of considered herself to be a little bit useless, at least in her little brother's eyes, because she only has one wing, so she can't follow him, and she can't take down the bluebirds like he can. But she doesn't realize that her other paw has quite a bit of potential too, so maybe Hawthorne can teach her. I suppose for now we could bring her down to the shore, keeping that root safe where it's nice and toasty warm. Oh, and I just realized. The water-breathing plants. We could use that as a way to potentially sustain Solstice, because it does heal her at least 1 day's worth of damage. So it's not going to be worth very much, but it'll help her struggle on just those couple of extra days. I wonder if maybe Jolly could bring that news to Hawthorne? Kind of like a trade of knowledge, I guess. Or at the very least, she could guide Solstice over to the shores too. Now as for you, Kiara, let's have you jump down here to grab up... Oh, a couple of these flowers. Oh my gosh, I forgot that you can't gather them. You poor, poor thing. I feel like that may have even been a last-ditch effort to maybe catch his eye. Maybe she was going to offer up those flowers when he came over here to do his work. But clearly the stars are just not aligning for you. I guess her temporary courage just faded. The spark was smothered before she could even grab that very first flower. But it looks like she has startled a couple of fish out from hiding, so that is definitely a good sign. You know, it might actually be a good idea for Solstice to wander the shore anyways. She has a Berryina claw just like her mother, and Ranger was pretty good at scooping fish out of the water too. So maybe she could grab us a couple of extra morsels that way. Now it looks like your walrus dear friend has unfortunately skittered off. Well, you are not going to let that stand. It seems like he's definitely gone this way because that's where his path is. And look at that, if we skip the day right now, we should be able to have you land your very first attack on the next turn. So let's go ahead and zoom out again and skip the night, and cross our fingers that Solstice doesn't get anybody sick. She's been pretty lucky so far. We haven't had to worry about anybody catching her colds. Though one of you had a really cool idea. Since she does have the Shaman's Curse, which is 2 stars in her immunity genes, one of you connected that to her being mute, so not being able to speak. That would leave Willow to do all of the talking for her, so all the more reason for these 2 sisters to always stay side by side. And now that they have their second gems too, let's go ahead and change them over to the same color as their fathers, so they can start adventuring across this mountain as well. Now before we go any further with them, let's make sure that Miana can land her very first attack. So that is going to poison the walrus deer as well, which means every single day that passes, it's going to lose 1 extra day worth of its lifespan. Just like when we were battling the balance bear before. It almost makes you think that Miana has been training for this for all their life. But Sparrow is not one to be deterred. It might not be a bluebird, but he knows that he can take down land creatures too. So let's have him swoop on ahead so he can unveil the walrus deer for us. And did he actually find a route too? Oh, there are actually routes this far out now? That is very, very surprising. Oh, that's kind of sad too. This is the direction that Prancer came out when she was searching for food, but she wasn't able to find like a single scrap. Well, maybe that's actually her doing? Just a little gift from beyond the grave? We could actually bring Miana over here, and she might be able to dig it up for us. But first, I have a feeling that the walrus deer is a little bit more pressing to you. Lightning must just be shaking her head right now, though I guess if she comes over this way, she might be able to surprise the walrus deer when it comes out from the snow. In fact, Sparrow, let's have you swoop this way so you can try to scare it. Well, I guess one more swipe ought to do the trick. There you go. You pushed him straight into this ditch. But at least he's not hard to see with those giant antlers. So we're going to leave you right there, Lightning, and we'll just keep an eye on the walrus deer to see where it ends up going. Because we have another pressing matter to attend to back here, and that's the other route to Berry Ranger next. So let's bring Hawthorne down next to Kiara. We can have him dig up this route right here. And then we'll have Jolly happily point out the healing plant that she found in the water. A little spark of sunshine again now that she has learned her true potential. And I wonder if Hawthorne might even be feeling a little flutter stirring in his heart. Something that he's been missing despite his growing family. So let's have you two pave the way for Solstice. We'll have you scoot off to the side. Maybe Jolly could even jump inside this hot spring again. And we'll make sure that you're out of the way, so she should be able to make it to the shore on this turn. On the next turn, she'll be able to grab this up, and maybe search for those fish in the water too. But we can't let Willow get too far behind. She would likely be racing in her sister's shadow. We'll bring her right over here, so she can settle down right beside Kiara. and maybe even learn a thing or two about those rituals of hers as she inspects the grave that her father dug. It looks like our plan finally worked. There you go, Lightning. 1 extra attack for you. Oh, 2 attacks. Okay. Not bad at all. Just 1 more good day's worth of hunting, and I think you guys might be able to officially take down our first walrus deer. So that really just leaves you, Flurry. And I think you would probably want to settle down right in this nest. I know it's not one that you crafted with your own 2 paws, but it is one that was visited by the Balance Sisters. So honestly, she probably figures there's no better place to have her next baby. Now we just have to cross our fingers that those antennas pop up. Hopefully having them in his mutation menu will be enough. He has them in his inactive traits too though, so I guess it's doubly likely that we'll see them. Now is there anything that we could do with you, Kiara? As heartbroken as she is, and as strange as it must feel to teach Hawthorne's children when she had such a big crush on him, it must warm her heart to know that the future generation is just as invested in the gravedigger's ways. So why don't we have her scoot her way down to the shore, and we'll see if maybe she can find those fish? Actually, they may have escaped pretty far. The difference in the water over here and the place that Ranger had found is that the fish were pretty much trapped over here in the corner. So it seems like you guys are going to have to travel pretty far and wide if you want to find them again, and not just these tiny little piranha fish. Those are a little bit too tricky even for Solstice. Oh my gosh, I don't even see them out this far. I mean, at least we have some algae, so I guess some more could spawn, but you'll have to keep your eyes peeled, Kiara. So let's go ahead and skip the day again, but this time we're going to zoom in on Flurry's nest to see if hopefully she was lucky enough to have an oracle baby. Oh no, it looks like she wasn't. In fact, this baby even has a spiky body. She is a prickly little baby for sure. The spiky body, the megaloceros horns, those 2 digging paws. So it almost seems like the earth spirits were far more involved in this birth, and that has to be rather disappointing for Flurry. But true to the ways of the earth spirits, we'll name her Sycamore, after another type of tree, so she can at least carry that connection with her. Now I'm almost positive that I heard a bluebird spawn too. Oh my gosh, right over your head practically, Sparrow. Well, this bodes well for you, Miana, because now the walrus deer is going to be yours and yours alone. We know that Sparrow can't resist showing his true strength in the skies. First though, I am actually going to have you dig up that root for us, especially because the walrus deer is a little bit too far away anyways. But with Lightning right next to it, oh, and on her very final day too, let's see if you can take down 1 more grand meal for us. Only 3 days remaining. I would have you chase after the walrus deer, but I'm afraid that's going to be a lost cause. That's something that's better left to Miana. She is always a little bit more reckless. There you go, Lightning. 1 more swipe, and look at all of that meat that we have to take back to the tribe. Well, you certainly deserve to be the one to pick that all up for us. And now I think you can finally land an attack on the bluebird too. Are 2 hits going to be enough for the bluebird? Oh my gosh. Oh, look at all that food. And it seems to have attracted the attention of some scavengers as well. The rogue males are looking for an extra little bite. Well, Hawthorne, you probably should send this guy packing, because it seems like he may have locked eyes with Jolly. Perhaps lured here by her sunny personality too. But she has no interest in you, and I think she's going to make that very clear. In fact, why don't we go ahead and use her turn to take a swipe at him? That way it should really send him packing. That should be a clear message to any rogue male. And it'll give Hawthorne time to scoot over to her other side. Because I'm wondering if maybe we should try again to have another baby with Flurry. It's her very final day, so our last chance to continue the Oracle's ways. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose their powers to see the future. So let's try just 1 more time. Come on over here, Flurry. Breed with her for us, and then we'll have her place down her own nest. Maybe the Balance Sisters, or her Oracle ancestors, just weren't happy that she stole a nest from Raven. We desperately need some more males in the tribe too, otherwise we're going to have to rely on the rogue males for our babies. So I guess another try is in order? Oh, hello. Are the Balance Sisters back? Not even by the nursery this time. Oh my gosh, Miana, how did you miss these two? Again, it must be because she's just so wrapped up in this competition with Sparrow, she didn't even notice the Arctic ram foxes lurking in the background. So once again, I wonder if it would be Lightning who would call that out to her, because she seems to be much more observant in these cases. I guess we could bring Miana up here, that way she could sense them herself. And Sparrow? Oh geez, Sparrow is definitely going to have to help. Let's have him swoop over here, that way he won't be right in their line of sight, but he should still be able to light it up for our other warriors. So I guess this wasn't the Balance Sisters doing. It's not just two Arctic ram foxes like we saw before. In fact, Anime may have actually sent this pack to teach these two a lesson. This endless bickering isn't going to get them anywhere. They really need to work together to take down the danger. So hopefully that'll be a good lesson for them both. Now Solstice, did I see that you actually got your sister sick? Oh, poor Willow, it looks like she has the cold now. Well, you can definitely fix that for her, can't you? Go ahead and let out a nice big purr, and she should be feeling better in no time. Then we'll have her go ahead and dip her big Bergina claw into the water so she can pop some of those healing fruits too. So yeah, it's not going to be worth very much, but it is better than nothing. And at least it'll give her that one extra day with her sister. So let's have Willow drift her way down the shores too. We could bring her over here so she can light up the rest of the way for Solstice. And hopefully we can find those fish again. To be honest, I'm thinking maybe we should go back to these shores, because that seemed to be a much better place for us to fish. Maybe Solstice would even mention as much if her mother left her that knowledge, or if she just feels the whispers of her mother from here. This was where her remains were set to rest. So let's have Kiara scoot around the ports, so she can light up the way over to these shores next. I guess that means you should probably stay close behind too, Willow. Why don't we actually have you settle down inside these hot springs for now? Maybe that'll help get rid of your colds. And that reminds me too, if we are playing Solstice as being mute, then she wouldn't be able to tell anybody about the fish over on the shores. She would have had to communicate that with Willow somehow, so she would be the one mentioning it to Kiara instead. I guess the purring probably works differently. It must be the only noise that she can truly make. But that's because she has been touched by our healers of old. So all we have left to work with are Hawthorne and Jolly. To be honest, we should probably leave Hawthorne right here. Or maybe even scoot him up this way, just so he'll be right next to Sycamore too, because she's going to need an extra day's worth of guarding. Actually, Jolly, let's have you follow right into Shadow. Maybe you could help take care of these babies once Flurry has passed. I did notice that we have a root up here too. Oh, that rogue male. You're still looking for Jolly, huh? You just can't get her out of your mind. Well, we'll make sure that Hawthorne can bury Flurry up here, so close to the very same place where the Balance Sisters set down their paws, so I'm sure she would be happy with that location. So let's go ahead and skip the day, but this time I'm actually going to watch these Arctic ram foxes, because I'm curious if they're going to try to attack any of our creatures. Oh, and that's right. We also lost Lightning too, so we're going to have to find a really good place to bury her as soon as this war with the Arctic ram foxes is over. We don't want any surprises today though, so before we go to battle, let's sniff around, just to make sure that no other dangers have spawned in the process. Actually, we're going to have to be careful if we bring Kiara over here, because she's going to end up attracting the rogue male's attention too. Ooh, do I see the antennas in the nest? Oh, with the digging trunk too? Do you have double digging paws? Yes, and even the heat body? Oh my gosh, talk about the perfect oracle. Now, we always wanted to put the heat body on these creatures because they were supposed to represent the strength of the sun anyways. So there's no better way than by pulling Melody's blessing out of their traits. This means that she's going to be a little bit more helpful as an oracle too. Not only can she tell us about the weather, but she can also dig up those roots just like her father could. Oh my gosh, Flurry would be so proud of you. It almost makes me wonder if Sycamore is going to be a little bit jealous of her, because she doesn't have any of those oracle traits. I wonder if Ash would be a good name for her? I know we've used that in the past, I think during the Burning Savannah, but I'm thinking more like an ash tree this time, to go right alongside her Earth Spirit theme. So Ash, you're going to have 2 roles thrust upon you pretty soon. The role of an oracle and the role of a digger, a food collector if you will, after Hawthorne ends up passing away. Though I suppose there's still a chance that he could have a few more digging chunked babies. Our population is still pretty small right now, and with over 100 pieces of food in our pocket, and plenty more to come too. I feel like this is our best opportunity to try to breed some strong babies into our line, creatures who will be able to continue to sustain us as the storms roll in. So that means it's finally time for you to ask Jolly if she would start a family with you. One that is actually born out of love this time. We'll go ahead and place both the digging chunk and the digging paw into her mutation menu, just to try to override the extra wing of hers. We don't really want to see that popping up on her babies. So go ahead and breed with Hawthorne. This time we don't even have to worry about sick babies between them, because their immunity genes are perfectly aligned. Then it's time for you to track down that root, so you'll be able to bury Flurry next. We'll bring you up here, and we can have Jolly shuffle between the babies. We might want to have her pick up some of these nests too, but right now we'll just have her plop down her own. Now you can go ahead and dig up this root for us. And there's the rogue male again. But as you can see, buddy, your chances with a Jolly are clearly dashed. She has a nice, happy family here now. So depending where he goes, we might have to go back to Kiara and move her quickly. But for now, let's head over to Sparrow and Miana, so we can try to take down at least a couple of these Arctic ram foxes. Who would be the best creature for us to move first, though? It looks like Miana is actually kind of trapped in, and Sparrow must be cackling from the side, because he knows he has much more mobility than she does. All we could really do is bring her up here, and at least she'll be able to attack this Arctic ram fox. I guess land in your extra attack too. The leaves just 3 days remaining on its lifespan, so unfortunately it won't be passing away on this turn. In fact, I wonder if she's going to take a little bit of damage. The Arctic ram foxes have a 2 in strength, so at least that would only be 1 day's worth of damage, assuming that it only attacks her once at least. And Sparrow, you can swoop into this hot spring, and you can attack this Arctic ram fox for us. That should leave him just about in the same location, but at least he'll be passing away on the next turn. So our rogue male friend has skittered away, broken-hearted just like Kiara. Oh, wait a second. Do you think maybe you can take advantage of her since she's feeling the same? Well, Willow and Solstice are not going to stand for that. Or at least Solstice won't, since Willow wouldn't even harm a fly. Maybe she would very gently try to push Willow back, and she would do the same for Kiara too. We'll bring her around this way, and hopefully on the next turn she can land a good swipe. Though I think she's also going to have her very final gem too, so these two are going to have to play this very, very carefully. Now as for you, Hawthorne, I wonder if you would actually notice the commotion in the distance. Do you think maybe he would get involved? Hawthorne has seen his fair share of battles too. This wouldn't be his first rodeo, and he would want to make sure that his babies are going to be safe and sound. He does have plenty of children to protect after all. So maybe we should bring him around this way, defending his family to his very final breath. And do we want to move Kiara? Do we want to take that risk? I guess we could bring her here, and then she can hopefully take that one extra little swipe. I mean, it's not going to be worth very much. She only has a 1 in attack, but maybe this rogue male will get the picture now. So one last time, let's go ahead and skip the day, just so we can see what Hawthorne's potentially final baby is going to look like. His baby with his one true love, something he never thought he would find. The gills? Really? That's a little bit more than shocking. Wait a second, who passed the gills? Hawthorne definitely doesn't have them, so it must be you, Jolly? Oh, that's right, because her father was Jangle. Oh no, so you've cursed us with the gills yet again, Jangle. Well, I guess it's better than nothing. And it also looks like another root may have spawned over here too. Well, that's a good sign. Right in front of our oracle as well. But there is far more to this baby than meets the eye. And the least of which is not that heat body that she's carrying. So she's going to be a pretty helpful member of this tribe as well, if just to clear out the way for those roots. Because I believe that the storms are nearly upon us now. Only one more day until the snow comes, and the next storm takes over. But I think our tribe is ready now. We have plenty of food to spare, and we have plenty of different creatures who will be able to continue providing us food all throughout the storm. So before we end the episode, let's just go ahead and name this little baby, and I think we're going to call her Winterberry. That gray fur of hers reminds me of the snow in a way, so it seems pretty fitting to give her a bit of a more delicate name, instead of the tall towering trees that her sisters are. I wonder if she'll even get swept up in Sparrow's shenanigans. Maybe they'll feel a connection with the gills that they possess. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!